I chose her husband's twin. I am 34, and I never expected the man who looks like my marriage to become the only person who could save it. The first night I met him again, I tasted rain on my lips and felt the small, bright ache of something forbidden. And I whispered the name Marcus like a prayer than a sin. That is a lot to carry in one breath, but each tag is a feeling I could smell on his shirt and hear in his laugh. Hook. The night he came back, I was folding my husband Daniel's shirts, the sleeves still warm from the dryer, and a text came through from an unknown number. I am here. We need to talk. For a moment, my heart dropped to the rug. Then I saw his name, Marcus. I had built a life I was quietly proud of. I ran a small design studio from our sunlit upstairs loft. Clients trusted me. My work paid the bills and fed my soul. Daniel and I had married young, in a small ceremony under maple trees. I loved the way he read the paper on lazy Sundays, and how his hand found mine in the dark. We had rough years, yes, and that steady comfort mattered to me. My closest friend, Mira, was like a sister. We shared coffee, secrets, and the same stubborn jaw. When Daniel left town 2 years ago for a long work tour, I kept the house, the routines, the tiny rituals that stitched me to him, leaving a glass of water on the nightstand, bookmarking the page he was reading. I cherished quiet mornings, the smell of his shaving cream, the way sunlight pooled on the couch. I thought the steady was enough. The inciting incident was small, domestic, and then everything. He returned on a rain-damp evening with his suitcase and a stubble I did not remember. Daniel had told me Marcus was estranged, that he had his own life and little to do with us. I had not expected him to knock on our door with a key that fit as if he'd never left. The moment he stepped inside, the air changed. He smelled like coffee and wood smoke. His eyes scanned the room and landed on me with a softness that made my ribs ache. That night at dinner, the old laughter flowed, and I noticed how Daniel flinched when Marcus set his fork down. The way Daniel's smile thinned like a photograph being cut. Later, the truth arrived like a cold draft. Papers in Daniel's drawer, a letter I found by accident, a line that broke me open. I am tired. I am not sure I want to be the man you married. Reading it, the world tilted, and I realized how little Daniel had shared of this shadow that had been growing between us. That same night, Marcus sat on the porch steps and said, "I came back because you are the only one here who knows him whole." His voice was small, honest, and the confession landed on my skin like rain. Rising action unfurled in small, dangerous ways. We found reasons to be together, overlapped errands, shared grief, quiet conversations that stretched until the stars loosened from the sky. Marcus lived in the guest room for a while because Daniel could not bring himself to face his past, and because Marcus had nowhere else to go. He talked about their childhood, the secret hurts Daniel carried, the times they both had tried to fix each other with silence. Each story was a thread that wound around my heart. I could smell the lemon soap on his hands, hear the rasp when he laughed, taste the salt of tears I had not yet shed. We walked late into the neighborhood, the rain polishing the street into glass, and he would brush his fingers against my knuckles, as if by accident. Those touches were small, electric. I told myself they were harmless, comfort for a man who looked like my life. But the nights he stayed up to keep me company while I sorted Daniel's boxes, the way he held the light over old photographs, the way he read aloud passages Daniel once loved, each act peeled me open. Desire crept in like ivy. I tried to shut the door. I tried to honor vows I had once vowed. But when he leaned in close enough that I could count the freckles on his jaw, his breath warmed my ear, and something inside me answered. At the peak of the tension, I found myself admitting truths in the dark. One night, as thunder rolled through the valley, Marcus confessed that he had always loved me in a way he could not name when we were young. that he had watched me from the edges and been cowardly then as he was brave now. My throat tightened. The house smelled like rain and Daniel's old cologne in the drawer, and my skin felt raw from choosing nothing. I pressed my palm to his chest and felt the steady flutter there, like a bird trapped in a box. If this confession has you on the edge of your seat, hit like and share, because you will not believe what happens next. I said words I would later wish I had kept back, because the next moments moved like a slow camera, each second longer and sharper. We promised what good people promise in bad times, that we would be careful, that we would not hurt the man who was my husband and Marcus's brother. But promises are thin paper when hearts ripen. The climax was not a single act, but a collapse into truth. Daniel came home unexpectedly, the key turning at midnight, his breath filling the stairwell with a smell of diesel and regret. He found the two of us awake in the kitchen, a battered tea tin between us and rain on our coats. The way he looked at Marcus was a mixture of relief and defeat, like a man seeing his mirror shattered. I watched his face as he realized how close we had been, and I saw pain that matched any knife. I could have blamed Marcus. I could have screamed at Daniel for leaving me with silence to fill. Instead, I felt a fierce protective heat for both of them. I had loved a quiet life and had been given a choice: cling to what was familiar and safe, or follow this tender, dangerous thread that promised to teach me how to be seen. I told Daniel every word, slow and honest, and the confession was its own kind of liberation. He sat on the stairs and listened, the sound of the rain like an audience. When I finished, Marcus left the house with his hands open, and I could smell his fear and his hope. Later, Daniel and I spoke until dawn about the dry parts of our marriage, about the ways we had not met each other for years. The truth burned, but it also cleared. Resolution came like a dawn after a long night of storms. We did not have tidy ends. Daniel and I did not snap back to a perfect marriage, and Marcus did not walk away as if nothing had happened. What happened instead was the slow work of mending. Marcus became a person on his own path. He moved into a small apartment and kept in touch in honest, careful ways. Daniel and I started going to counseling, learning to speak about the small cuts that had become wounds. I learned to forgive myself for feeling something that felt forbidden, and to hold responsibility for the choices I made. The scent of rain still takes me back. For months I would close my eyes and find Marcus's hand in mine in memory, a touch that taught me how wide my heart could be. I am rebuilding in ways that frighten and delight me. I have found a second chance at love that is not neat and not measured by promises alone, but by the willingness to change. There is grief, yes, and also a fierce, blooming hope. If you crave more raw emotional confessions, please like, share, and subscribe. Your next chapter awaits.